Yo, Gus, thank you for the $10 super chat. Would you let your son who makes 100K, in good shape, very successful, marry a woman who has body count equals 30 plus, has provocative pics on IG, has somewhat of a bad rep in the community, goes out a lot? This is your son.
I mean,
go ahead.
Oh, you can go. You raised your hand.
Go.
We'll start with Savannah.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you keep that up? Because I'm not gonna remember.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
The 30 plus bodies, I mean, depends on how old he is, because like if you're, I'm guessing in your 30s, like sure by the time you're in your 30s, I'm guessing you're gonna have a high body count. Provocative pictures on Instagram, I mean, I do that, so like I don't really fucking care. Bad rep in the community, fuck no. I would not let my son marry someone like that. Goes out a lot. That depends. Where do they go? Like if they go to like clubs and shit, probably not, because I don't think that's that nice.
So me personally, I hope I raise my sons real well to understand that they're a prize and a king. So I don't want them dating women that are gonna make them embarrassed or make them look dumb. 30 plus bodies, no, I don't agree with that at all. Especially because I'm 28 now and I don't have 30 bodies, so hell no. Posting pictures like that for attention and people, that's basically cheating. I don't agree with that. And if she can't like have nurturing skills, take care of him, love him, and be like a wife and mother, I don't like that. But I'm not gonna like force him not to be with her. I'll just educate him enough to, to steer him in the right direction.
I have a question. Would you let your son marry me since I'm not that nurturing?
No. You said you want kids. I want grandchildren, so no.
I would adopt.
No. Wait, you don't want your own kids, but you want to adopt?
I like
that doesn't make any sense.
This is my thought process. I can't nurture children. Like I just genuinely physically
That's a
cannot.
random kid. You can't even nurture that. If you carry it in your stomach, you could hold your own baby and love it.
It's honestly just autism. Like I genuinely, like with everyone, I can't.
Yeah.
I love kids. Don't get me wrong. I love them. When they are crying, I have I don't know how to deal with it. I freeze up and like I freak out because I don't know how to do that. But
You're really good with me when I cry.
Oh my God.
no, I freak out in my head.
Oh, you're like hugging me and shit.
Yeah, I don't know what else to do. I can't talk you through it.
That's fine.
But babies, the crying, like I don't know how to deal with it at all.
She freaks out over Christmas lights, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, no, I saw her like
That's
squeaking
bad.
in the back seat, like.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
It's bad.
I would say, I mean, a little along the lines of what you said. I wouldn't want them to date her, but and hopefully I would have raised them so that they they know their self-worth and but I wouldn't be I would let them date her, but I wouldn't be very
Let him learn
happy
from his
about it.
mistakes.
What's that?
I'll let him learn from his mistakes, and if it goes bad, then I told you so. But on the long term, end goal of marriage, then no. If they're engaged and she's still doing that and all that, then no. But
Okay.
if it's if it was a short term thing, I'm not gonna talk shit.
Sure.
So
Ooh, go ahead.
What is about letting is like giving a blessing?
Wait, what?
They're asking, would you let your son? What is that? Like, is it giving a blessing and saying I agree with your choice? Or
Well, I suppose here's the thing. I don't think a mother would be able to actually fully stop. But
Yeah.
I would view this question more so from the frame of how would you raise him? Like, would you say, hey, go for these types of women, don't go for these types of women? And would you also give your opinion if he is dating someone who's maybe not worthy? Like, would you tell him, hey, I don't think this is the match for you?
I think the person is adult, is willing to choose whoever he wants.
Mhm.
And if he asks for my opinion, I would say.
Right.
But I would never say if he doesn't ask, because my mom used to say a lot of stuff that I don't ask her, and I had to build boundary for her to not to say it because it's annoying. So
But okay, let me give you an example. Let's say you found out that your son was dating all of that, and she was addicted to heroin, and I don't know, some other shit. But he never asked you for advice. You wouldn't then try to intercede and say, listen, Vladimir, this woman, that's the name of your son.
yeah.
This woman is not good.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't be with her. Here's how all the way she's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Would you, Sammy, thank you for the re-upping your tier 1 membership. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Go ahead.
I don't think it's my place to say what choice the person has to have.
That's your son, though.
Yeah, it's my son, and that means I'm a bad mother if whatever the values I put in him made him choose that kind of a person.
Well, sure. You should have raised him, I guess, from the get-go
Yeah,
to
so
maybe not
what
want
I can
that
do
person.
now, if he was already adult, like what can I change?
Well, usually, like, let's say your son is young, maybe he's a bit naive, so he might not. He's still kind of maneuvering in the dating when it comes to dating. So maybe he needs his parents' advice.
If you ask for my advice, I would say, but I
You
don't think the 14-year-old gonna date anybody.
Well, you wouldn't give someone unprompted advice. They
Well,
always need
when
to
I'm
ask for advice?
raising them, but not when they're like 26 and on a dating app. It's not my
Okay.
place.
I think also. Sorry, you guys.
No, go ahead.
You had your
Sure.
hand up. Yeah.
I just feel like men and women are very different, and like sons, they fall in love unconditionally. And if you allow your son to just love any random woman, do you understand how bad his mental health can be? And once he's stuck in that, married to a heroin addict, she's pregnant, all this crazy stuff. Now, guess what you have to deal with when she's gone, takes all his stuff, his mental health. And he's going to be in
He's
shambles because you
adult.
never helped him, but you're his mom, and you have to
I'm
be there.
his
You
mom,
protect his
but
heart
I'm his
emotionally
mom.
and spiritually.
I'm his mom till he's 18 or 21
So you're not a-
legally.
You're not a mom anymore. after
I
that?
am
know,
a
right?
mom, but I become a different kind of a person, different kind of a parent because there's a boundary. There's an adult I raised that has his own life now, that has go to separation, making his own mistakes. Because if he will not do that, even worse thing gonna happen later on. There's a lot of stories of abused by mothers, man that I met in my life, and it's terrible.
I want to say another thing. It's also, too, you can communicate efficiently with your son. You don't need to scream, yell, put him down. You could say, I love you, I care about you, and I see you're going down a dark path, but I want to make sure that you're okay. I advise you to do this. You're going to do whatever you want, but I'm here for you every step of the way. You don't need to belittle him and things like that either, you know? I'm just saying.
I'm
in
not
general.
saying I'm gonna belittle him. I'm saying I'm not gonna intrude if he's not asking me because he's an adult. I respect that he is smart person that I raised and gonna be able to make smart decision along the way. And if he makes a bad decision in his life, he takes responsibility, whatever that is.
I don't think she read the question properly, honestly.
But don't you still, even
Yeah.
even though he has reached the age of majority, don't you still feel there's some duty as the mother
There's a
to?
duty to support whatever the choices the person makes. I can if you ask me, it's like a friendship. If you ask a person for your opinion, you should say it. It's a healthy boundary. You should not raise and judge whenever a person doesn't ask you.
I want to flip this question slightly. Let's say you had a daughter and
Okay.
she's 19,
Okay.
because it might be a bit more relatable if it's a daughter, perhaps, and she's just fucking getting ran through. I'm talking 2-3 new guys a week. She's already at, well, it might be too late at that point. She slept with 30 dudes, freshman semester, first semester.
I'm a
Would
bad
you-
mother. That's all I can say.
You do make a good point that you should have prevented that, I guess, from the get-go.
Yeah.
But would you I know it
Intervene
is,
and say, now you're going to sit at the house and you will never leave it until you turn 25, or what? The
Well,
person has to understand and go through the process to understand that there's a mistake going on.
you wouldn't tell her to stop being a whore?
I was just thinking whether that's an appropriate. I think that's there's respect. First of all, you should not. It's not my place to judge, and I shouldn't judge.
You can judge. It's okay to judge.
You're her parent.
It's okay to judge, but I don't want to push my daughter away from me by calling her a whore, because it's only gonna. She already made a decision, and she has her own values, whatever that is. If the values doesn't match with mine, I'm a bad mother who didn't culture the right kind of communication, understanding of the values in the world. But there's nothing I can do now.
I mean, I would like sit my daughter down and talk to her, because if like something happened, because I know people who've been like raped and they deal with it in a way where they have just a shit ton of sex after to deal with it. I would like sit her down and talk to her and see if like something was wrong. And then, like, if nothing's wrong, I'd be like, dude, like,
Wouldn't just call her a whore and like
no.
tell her not
and,
to
like,
be that.
if nothing was wrong, like, I truly believe nothing was wrong. It's not like her just saying, yeah, I'm fine. I'd be like, okay, well, fucking stop. Like, that's just shitty. Like, you shouldn't do this. Like, that's dangerous. Like, especially if you're doing it raw. Like, you could catch STDs, like pregnancy. Like, you don't want that. Like, that's what I would do.
I don't believe in shaming at all, especially when it comes to your kids, but my daughter represents me. I'm not going to call her a whore, but I'm definitely going to have a conversation with her because she's not going to be out here in these streets looking ran through like most of these modern day women. Sorry. I need class in my life and my family. With my daughters, I'm sorry.
But she's not a property.
She's my daughter. She's your daughter. She's not your property. And I want her to be okay. And at the end of the day, girls who get ran through, I see them all over line complaining and crying how they're unfulfilled, men don't love them, and they're used and abused. I don't want that for my daughter. I want her to feel valuable and worth something. And she's gonna go, if she goes down that path, she's gonna feel just like all these girls complaining and boo-hooing on this internet. I'm good. I need a queen, baby. I need a queen.
Maybe it's an interesting question because he's already dating her in the scenario that the super chat gave. He's already dating her. So I don't know. It's more so like, would you attempt to guide them to the right place?
If there's a possibility that I will not attend the wedding by showing that I don't support that kind of a marriage. But again, it's not my place to raise a voice and say, you're a bad son now because you choose that woman. Because he's not my object, he's not my property. I raised the person, a human being. Now he's out in the world and he's making his own decision because he has a right to do that. It's a freedom of choice. And I don't want to disrespect him because I think if I raise that person, I raise the person in a good way. So that means I just respect myself when I start to say, oh, you are nobody because you can't make a right choice, and I'm going to tell you what choice you have to make.
I can see. I mean, you're basically saying that your son has agency.
Yeah.
And they're going to make their own decisions. I guess I think maybe the issue that some of the people here are having is that you would wait for him to ask for your advice, whereas I think a lot of us here, if we saw our son or our daughter with a partner that was clearly bad for them, but for whatever reason they were just, sometimes when love is involved, it makes things complicated, we would initiate that conversation. We wouldn't wait for advice. We would say, we would try to preemptively say, hey, this person's not good for you.
Okay. I think you have like a fear of maybe like losing your kid and stuff like that. But again, if you talk to them, it'd be a different scenario. Like, I don't think you have to like, I'm not trying to force my kid to do things, but if you tell them ahead of time, they'll be well aware of that. And like me personally, if I was doing something dumb, drinking, whatever, and like say you guys are my friends, I might not know in that moment that I'm wrong. I might not know I'm doing anything wrong, but I would love one of you guys to be like, hey girl, you know what? You're messing up. Hey girl, you haven't been paying your rent. Hey girl, you've been fucking up on me. I love people who can critique me and help me be better. You're not going to help your child be better at all.
Can I reframe the question?
Go ahead.
Imagine you have a husband.
Okay.
And he wants to invest all your money in a very shitty, awful project. And like, you know, it's not gonna turn success, but like he believes in that. Like he knows that's gonna be success. Like that's the only thing he wants. Would you say to him, would you stop him from investing the money?
That's a whole different thing. And
no,
it's
not.
I would
It's not. It's for your husband.
It's a whole different thing.
You are family.
I will invest in my child. That's not putting him in danger. That's going to help build his thing. And whose money is it? Mine. So if I lose that, it's my money or our money technically.
No, you're
that's
saying
a whole different, baby. You put a whole different ballgame.
No. About kids and then a project.
Yeah, you went to a whole girl. You're like taking
Kids
this a whole
are
different
different.
level. You can talk about Skittles and chocolate now. What are you talking about? Come on now.
No, you distinguish.
Stop it.
You don't let me say. First of all,
Go ahead.
There's a difference for you between a separate unity and your child. But I don't think there is a difference. I think you should respect your child as much as you respect your husband, especially we're talking about adult son. Men. We are talking men now don't make decisions or afraid to make decisions. It's because there were such mothers who were along the way constantly criticizing and judging them and making them feel not enough.
Again, girl, you are projecting. I could just see you're projecting because you went through that. How come I can't? Yes, I can tell you're projecting. Like everything that you've been saying, you just had a situation with your mother. You're thinking moms who just have a conversation are going to be like bagging on their sons and hating on them. No, I'm just giving him advice. You don't have to be disrespectful. You can be nice and say it. And if you always have open conversations, your son knows how you are as a person. So I think you're taking it a whole different thing because you went through that, baby. Stop it. Projection. I see it right through it. Sorry.
Okay.
So one thing that, and maybe this plays into her argument that occurred to me, is how often do you hear stories of the parent, like a girl who's dating a guy, maybe he's a jerk, maybe he's an asshole. Typically you hear this with younger women, and the parents are like, we don't like him, don't date him, but it only pushes her more. So maybe there's that component to it too, but there's definitely the thing where like if the parents are like, we don't like him, it makes her more into him. So
Don't
They
push
chase
them
him even more. Yeah, I get you.
yeah, there's definitely girls where like if their parents are like, don't go ahead.
I agree, but that's why I say if you have a healthy conversation and you're not bagging on the person they're with, just say, you know what, I care about you, I love you. This is not something I would want for myself, but I'll be with you every step of the way, and I hope that you would take a different route. Because I feel like when you bag on them and tell them don't constantly, they're eventually going to steer right to it. So I think it depends on the conversation, how you go about it.
Gotcha.